Yeah.
Along with Carl Henderson and the mighty Joe Salinas is steering Mothership KURV. I'm Sergio Sanchez. You're listening to special coverage on 710 KURV. And before we pay some bills, go to break, and have a real big, fat, long break and news at the bottom of the hour, let's get more reaction to, again, this historic news on this day. Space exploration technology, SpaceX, making it official. We, the Rio Grande Valley, we are now officially the home of the first ever commercial, the private rocket launch facility. It's the first spaceport here in the U.S., a private one. And, we used to launch out of California at some military installations, and, of course, Cape Kennedy, and that's a government NASA site. But Elon Musk, in his wisdom, through SpaceX and his endeavors through a private rocket launch company, said, you know what, I want my own rocket launch facility. I do not want to be dependent on NASA and the military on their schedule, their flight schedules, and their permits. I'll send my permit to the FAA. Thank you. A small, market down here that doesn't have too many big flights coming in and out. Thanks, Elon. That's going to change sometime in the next 10 to 15 years. But nevertheless, we are now the spaceport.
And for in the future, we'll be talking about aliens not from Central America, but maybe from outer space.
That's good. I admit. One thing I had not thought about, Brownsville Airport has struggled to have. It's gone from in one lifetime from being the jumping off point for points south of Pan Am Airways. May it rest in peace. This ought to generate more business. I would think it would generate more business for the airport.
Yeah, and we've been just touching a little bit on the potential, the possibilities of money-making endeavors that could come from tourism. But I think that the biggest winners here, and just in my opinion, I think that would be our kids, our schools, our future, especially for those.
Don't go soft on us, sir.
Those who are visual learners, kind of like me. You see something and you go, yeah, I want that.
That sounds like 2 out of 3 of my boys.
Yeah, I really, really want that. All
They're
right,
not shaped like donuts.
Yeah, so no. It's let's go to PSJA, Superintendent for Pharr-San Juan-Alamo School District. He's very successful. Dr. Dan King joining us on 710 KURV. Dr. Dan, I wanted to get your reaction first off on this historic announcement. SpaceX, we're home, and we're the new spaceports in Rocket Town, USA. So what say you, Dr. Dan?
Oh, it's definitely very, very exciting. I think it's a game changer. It is historic for the Valley, and it's going to be a great inspiration to our students, and I can see it really sparking even more interest. We already have a growing interest in a lot of the STEM fields, in technology and engineering, the science fields, and this is just really going to create a lot of pathways for these, young people to who often have to leave the Valley to fulfill their career when they have a high interest in areas like this. Computer science also, I think, will expand quite a bit. And outside the project itself, I'm sure different suppliers, and so it has the potential to really make a huge difference.
On the education side, Dr. Dan King from PSJA, he's a superintendent joining us on 710 KURV. Have you had a chance to maybe do a little bit of brainstorming and how we can create some type of synergies and maybe some new programs, some new educational programs embedded within our schools to create a pipeline of what would be needed for this fledgling commercial payload delivery business that, of course, we are, going to be initiating here in South Texas?
Definitely, we have been thinking and talking about that, and of course, right on top of that, you have the new, UTRGV forming, and I know that their, Brownsville campus in particular will really feature programs to support this. So you put the two together, the UTRGV and the SpaceX, and the opportunities for our young people are just going to be so much greater. And the great thing, it's here local. A lot of opportunities for our young people. I'm sure that they'll be there to go visit, to see presentations on this, and then for us to tie in very specific programs to prepare students. Partnering with the university and our colleges to prepare students for this, and with the SpaceX themselves.
Dr. Dan King from PSJA joining us on 710 KURV. We're gathering reaction from local leaders on this historic day, the announcement from Space Exploration Technologies, SpaceX, they're coming. Elon Musk has made it official. The governor's office sending out word through a press release. Brownsville, Texas has been chosen by SpaceX to be the first private rocket launch facility in our nation. And by that extension, I don't think there's anyone else in the world that's doing this privately. I think it's all probably government ventures. So looking at the educational aspect of this, Dr. King, I don't recall a time in our history where the horizon looks so promising. Now, we've got SpaceX just, hours ago making the announcement that they're coming. And then you've got this expanded trade possibility with Mexico, the superhighway that connects to the Pacific coast. You've got the medical school that's coming, liquefied natural gas and all the fracking that's taking place near us. Mexico changing their constitution, privatizing the energy industry, and creating thousands of jobs in the near future. And Lord only knows what the spinoff is going to be for us. The port of Brownsville, the expansion there, and perhaps a natural gas node there as well. Dr. King, this, I guess if you were to choose a time in history to live in the Rio Grande Valley, this would be the time. This is probably the most promising for our children in the Rio Grande Valley ever.
Definitely. And, the Valley, I know many of us have always felt that the Valley is in a prime location and primarily situated for a lot of innovation and connecting internationally. And it just seems like the stars are aligned and everything is converging where everything is coming in at once. And I think that's a sign of things to come because as we've seen in other areas of the country, once the ball gets rolling on these kind of things, it really it really picks up speed. And so it's really up to us, all of us here in the local community, educational leaders, business leaders, community leaders, to really work together to really take advantage of this. And it's the greatest time for our young people to be growing up and moving on into college and so forth in careers.
And for Dr. Dan, thank you for your time. Thank you for your reaction. And good luck putting together the curriculum. I know he's been cracking the whip for some time, getting those huercos off the street and getting those butts back in the seats. Now you're going to have to develop the curriculum to create a pipeline to all these industries that are going to be demanding the workforce. Thank you, Dr. King. Dr. Dan King, joining us on 710 KURV. He's from PSJA. Again, we continue special